Welcome back to Bao News Network. We were actually taking a closer look at a topic that's going to be very important to a lot of people going forward. And do you believe that you can afford to retire when you would like to retire? And will your Social Security and 401k be enough when you're ready to retire? So this is going to be an ongoing discussion here on Bao News Network. If you're a new subscriber or if you're first time visiting this channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also notification bell, because we're going to dive in depth into financial topics, Social Security, the structure of Social Security, whether it will actually be around when it's time for you to retire, as well as 401k topics. Now, we are not tax accountants, we are not professional attorneys in any way. We're simply providing general advice, taking a look at the system, the United States government in general, and the way it's actually set up for us going forward into potentially our retirement years, and whether our nest egg will be available for us when it is time for us to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So the general question here is, can you afford to retire, and will your Social Security and 401k will be enough? If you recall from our previous video, we actually took a closer look at the 401k average 401k balances in the United States, and this was a very important way of actually getting an idea of, will you have enough to retire? We can actually see from the for those who are under the age of 25, the average 401k balance with any of these top funds are such as Vanguard or Fidelity, it's about $6,300. If we go a little bit further, 10 years ahead, the age group of 35 to 44, we actually see that the average 401k balance is just under $100,000 for the average participant. And then if we get into the age of 55 to 64, we can actually see that the average 401k balance across the board for a majority of the accounts, millions of accounts held with many of the large funds, is somewhere around $250,000. Now, occasionally what will happen is when life calls, the people will actually dip into these funds, and actually either a withdrawal or a loan on these balances can be extremely detrimental to actually building, taking advantage of what's called compounding interest. And when we take a closer look at compounding interest, we can actually see the power of what it actually means. And this is just a general chart. If we took a look at, if we were to save $100 per month at the age of 25 and then invested it into a standard fund, the S&P 500, possibly 7% to 8% return on average per annum, you could possibly have $1 million in your retirement fund. But if we see the detriment of actually waiting 10 years to actually start this plan simply by putting away $100 per month, you actually see that you actually rob yourself of almost $700,000 over the course of possibly being able to retire by the age of 65, simply by starting 10 years later than the age of 25. Now, keep in mind, that's why we have what's called catch-up for retirement, where for many participants who are 50 or older, they're actually able to get set aside additional retirement funds from their workplace or their employer, and but in the long run, trying to play catch up with the power of compounding interest can be very difficult. But nonetheless, catch up is possible, especially if you're 50 and older, where you can actually start stashing away quite a bit more funds to actually be able to be prepared for retirement. One of the things that we want to take a look at Bao Network here is actually taking a look at the different types of plans. And most of you are familiar with the IRA, and then you have qualified plans, which were going to be such as 401k plans and different kinds of plans that are available through your employer. with your IRA for 2023, you're actually able to go ahead and put aside $6,500, and if you're over the age of 50, you can actually go ahead and do a catch-up, as we mentioned before, of $1,000. So that will be able for you to go ahead and set aside in more funds for the year of 2023 for 401k. The max would be around 22,500, and if you're 50 and older, then there's an additional 7,500 per annum that you'll be able to put aside, which comes to a total of almost $30,000 that you'll be able to put aside. Now, definitely check these figures for yourself and for your employer. Of course, putting aside the most and being able to take advantage of the maximum is going to be very important, especially if your employer provides you with matching contributions. Keep in mind also, depending on the type of funds that you invest in, you may be able to pocket dividends that are going to be payable quarterly throughout the year. So these are some of the benefits of actually being able to take a look at the 401k program, qualified retirement. Now, keep in mind, 401k was actually a tax code written a few decades ago. It was not intended to be such a grand scheme where it was actually going to be the hallmark of retirement. As we can see over the years of several bankruptcies in major industries, we've actually seen pension programs actually vanish, and they've actually been taking the place of 401k programs. So it is well for you to be actually well versed in how 401k programs are actually working, so that you can actually take the most benefit of them. And as you get older, you will actually need to be able to stash away more in anticipation for knowing exactly what you're going to be needing for going forward for your anticipated retirement. Keep in mind also, there's going to be profit sharing, different types of profit sharing programs. As we mentioned, those can be in the form of matching contributions, either from 0% all the way to 100%. One of the statistics that we wanted to take a look at for this episode of Bound News Network, as we focus on financial issues, keep in mind, and this is very, very important, the richest 1% control 42% of the wealth in the world. And then the richest 10% of that 1% actually controls 85% of that wealth. Now, keep in mind, on the flip side, the lower 80% controls less than 10% of the world's wealth. And in the bottom 40% of those control 1% of the world's wealth. So this is very, very important for you to just keep in mind as you go forward into your retirement. Where do you want to be, and where do you want to be able to retire? Saving for retirement not only includes a 401k, but it also includes Social Security, and you can actually inquire as far as where you are as far as your work credits are concerned, so you can get an idea of what you can anticipate your Social Security payment will be at the time that you're ready to retire. So going forward with Bound News Network, we're going to investigate 401k as well as Social Security, the different aspects of the program, how they actually integrate into forming a retirement plan going forward. There are other different types of retirement programs, such as tax-deferred annuities and various types of plans. Some are qualified, some are not. Some are going to be hybrids of either having the characteristics of a qualified plan, and some may not have the characteristics of a qualified plan. It all depends on what your employer offers. And if you are self-employed, then there are going to be other different programs available to you so that you can actually be able to prepare for retirement going forward. Well, we hope that this video has benefited you, and please subscribe. We will continue to bring further videos relating to financial issues, 401k and Social Security, and we're going to take a closer look into how the programs will actually affect you going forward. Once again, this is another edition of Bound News Network. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day.